Sean McVay was seen as this offensive boy wonder, right? Wasn't that the sale of Sean McVay? And my takeaway from Monday Night Football is this. There's a reason that people around the NFL have tried to hire anybody who had brunch once with Sean McVay. That dude can coach football. He understands. He's hired good people. He hired Wade Phillips, and then Wade Phillips, he has the ceiling everywhere he is. There's like 2 years, then it kind of runs a little bit stale. People start to figure it out a little bit. And so he moved on from Wade Phillips. And oh yeah, by the way, it was important that he hired Wade when he got the job because Wade was the oldest assistant and he was the youngest head coach. He needed kind of some balance in the middle. It's kind of like when you have those asparagus spears and you go to get a big steak, right? There's that balancing thing. Something that's really good for you and something that's really bad for you. And you balance it out and meet kind of in the middle. So this is now his staff. And is it a perfect team? No, right? Like they're still paying their penance for the Todd Gurley contract. They had to overpay for whether it's Jalen Ramsey. And as great as Aaron Donald is, and he can dominate a game and free up everybody else in the defensive line to do whatever they want, the fact is that you had to pay him more than anybody else at his position, not even close in the NFL, and there's going to be some holes because of it. They'd have to rework their defensive backfield. Their linebacking core is not great. Like, this is not a perfect team. And I don't think Jared Goff is a perfect quarterback, and he hasn't played well at times this year. He didn't play well at times last year. But in the most difficult division in football, in a season where they've had to kind of figure out, trial by fire, their running backs, the defense is starting to really come together. It was a sore spot. The offensive line isn't terrible, and that's a good defensive front for the Chicago Bears. And they're finding ways to continue to win games. Like, I don't know, my takeaway is that's a really well-coached football team. Right? Figure out a way to win this week, and then do it again next week. The LA Rams are 5-2 on the season. Are they a great team? I don't know. But I can tell you this, that the Chicago Bears came in at 5-1 on the season. Their losses are to the Niners and to the Bills, two playoff teams. Right? I don't know if the Niners will be a playoff team because of all the injuries, and I know that they played them banged up. But like, I'm looking at Miami next week. That's a win for the Rams. Then they have a bye, and then they'll hop into Seattle. They still have Seattle and Tampa and San Francisco. They got an incredible, like, murderer's row of schedule before they get to New England and the Jets later in the season. But I don't know. My takeaway is there's a discernible difference in the quality of coaching from the Rams and even the Bears, who I like. And I know that staff and I like that staff. But whether it's offensively, whether it's special teams, and look, the Hecker thing, I mean, some of that's the kind of luck of the draw. You get the punter, but whatever. Like, they have made some really good decisions. They have figured out ways to win games. They're figuring out a way to make Jared Goff more successful, putting him under center and taking him out of the shotgun. They figured out a way to get a running game, and they're figuring it out. And that's like the two things on coaching, which we kind of talked about yesterday, is you can tell if the team plays hard and if they're figuring it out as the game goes along, how to kind of crack the code and beat the other team. That wasn't a virtuoso. It was a 10-3 game for a long time. Bears were very much in it. And kind of a crazy play on a bang-bang interception changed the game in the end zone. If not for that, I don't know what the final score is. But I watched last year, and Goff was not good. Gurley was a mess. The offensive line was shaky at best as they tried to replace a couple of players. They were working, and they're coming off a Super Bowl hangover. And one of the things about the Super Bowl is it really kicks your butt. Emotionally, mentally, like there's a reason teams that lose in the Super Bowl struggle so much, or teams that play struggle so much outside the Patriots struggle so much the next year. And they were, if the format stuck, they were from this year to last year, they were a playoff team. And oh yeah, by the way, even without the format, if one play goes different at the end of the Niners Seahawks game, right? Like they're right there. So my big takeaway is we spent a year trying to convince ourselves that Sean McVay isn't as good as everybody thinks he is. And I keep watching and watching that coaching staff and watching what he's doing and understanding that team is good in three phases, especially special teams and getting better in defense. And they just figure it out on offense. I think he's a spectacular coach. I think that was mostly a coaching win, somewhat a personnel win with Aaron Donald. He's just a monster, and so it makes it easier for other people to be monsters.